Alright, what's up guys? So we have war number 2 here. I just forgot to record the part where I showed their bands and in the match screen, but we matched an alliance called 1NG, I think, and I do recall that they had a strong War 1. They only died 4 times. If you guys have watched Lizer's video, you already basically know the story and how this war played out. But this war for me was very sloppy and honestly embarrassing enough that I openly discussed with Lizer whether I should even post this war for one reason. And that reason is, as you know, the leader of an alliance, the person that a lot of people look to, you know, set standards and expectations and hold people accountable to those standards and expectations, and a person that is certainly not uncomfortable with, you know, calling things out if I feel like they need to be called out for accountability reasons, providing very direct feedback for our players so that we can all improve as a team. As that type of person, you know, there's one thing that happened in this war that certainly makes me look like a hypocrite. And of course, like almost any mistakes in an alliance war, I mean, I can't imagine anybody in any alliance that would intentionally make a mistake. So of course, it was an accident. It's just a really bad look. And because of that, I was like, man, I don't even know if I should post this war. So anyway, that's your hook. All right. So if you guys aren't interested in watching the rest of this war video, then what are you doing here then? You know what I mean? So that's like the best hook that I could give you, and hopefully it'll never happen again. But anyway, we have a big war here. So I took a lot of fights. I've been taking a lot of fights this season, and mostly that is because I'm very comfortable with CGR. I have a rank 4 CGR. He's the only rank 4 in the battle group that I'm actually in. And he just destroys this global node. He destroys almost anything in Alliance War regardless, but especially with this global, he is just elevated. I think he's a top, I mean, I think he's one of the 2 best attackers this season. So anyway, let's jump into it. Our first fight is, this Void here. Now, you guys have seen me take this Void often with CGR. He is placed here almost every single war because he's so dangerous here. If you make a mistake and you get a debuff or you don't use a double immune or something goes wrong in this fight, one mistake can kill you in this fight. And that is not something that is the case for most nodes on the map. So that's why he's placed here. Even if you think that you know, like Ghost is a great option for Void, and she's whitelisted this season. That is very true. But he's still worth placing here because he's so dangerous. Something can go wrong. Now, I have not really been assigning Ghost very often. So we actually didn't even assign a Ghost this war. We didn't assign a Ghost in War 3 as well, which just ended. We did have one Ghost go out in this battle group in War 1, but I am extremely comfortable with this fight and with this lane and with the global node. We're going to have a really crazy interaction on that Nick Fury fight that I guess we'll talk about during that fight. But so with Cosmic Ghost Rider, you know, the absolute safest way to do this fight with Cosmic Ghost Rider, and it's probably the safest of any champ other than Ghost, is Power Start 1 boost, parry, Light Ender, to get your power gain, parry, SP2. That's it. Don't worry about your other judgments. Your goal is to, as quickly as possible, get to your SP2 so that by the time the phase shifts over to poison, to which CGR is not immune. You know, the fight is already taken care of at that point. Alright, so this next fight, it is important if you have a void on node 9, that first node, that you need to take off a power start 1 boost. You need to replace it. Otherwise, this defender is going to have, they're going to be indestructible. They're going to have an indestructible buff at the start of this fight. So this node also has power focus 1. So Nick Fury, you know, is going to get over a bar of power before I complete my first 2 judgments, as you guys can see. So because of that, sometimes he will throw his SP1. It honestly doesn't matter. So here, I'm just going to be patient. I could have gone for it, but there's just not really any reason. Plus, with Nick Fury's second life, I didn't want to put myself in a bad position. So all I'm doing is parrying here. I am trying very, very hard not to spoil, not to use my Dexterity Mastery, which would produce a very low potency precision buff. If you wait and you trigger precision for the first time with your special 2, which happens automatically, it is a massively increased precision. So here's the crazy thing. We push him to 0 health, right? So he's got 1 more life left. But up here, he has those armor breaks, and because of the sick and tired global attacker tactic, he is heal blocked, so he never gets the benefit of his second life. So I've watched this many times, and honestly, I'm not 100% sure what happened. So here's what I think happened. So if you guys aren't familiar, when Cosmic Ghost Rider throws his SB2, every hit inflicts an armor break. That's what these are from. Also, when you complete a judgment cycle, meaning when you get reach 5 judgments, as you guys can see we got over here, if you're awakened, you inflict damnation, which is what this debuff is. Now, here's the timing thing. This was obviously not intentional with Fury. I thought I was going to have to play through his second life. This was just a happy coincidence or happy accident, I guess. But here's the explanation. When this timer ends, when damnation ends, all of your judgments are cleared and they're reset. They start back at 0. However, they don't just go away. All of these judgments turn into armor breaks. So that's how after an SP2, after you do a full cycle, a lot of times if you guys watch your CGR fights, after a couple seconds, you'll have 11 armor breaks instead of the 6 that you get from throwing an SP2. So during the SP3 animation, you guys can see here, our timer here is almost over for damnation. So damnation is going to expire during the SP3 animation, after we have pushed him to his second life. So the raw damage from our SP3 is going to kill him, basically, kill his life model decoy. So at this point, his first life is gone. It's completely gone. So any debuffs that I inflict on him after this point will stick. He won't be able to shrug them, because he only shrugs them when he discards his life model decoy. And then after this animation, damnation has expired, and all of those 5 judgments have been converted to armor breaks. And because CGR is a sick and tired attacker, if you have at least 3 debuffs on your opponent, you will passively heal block them. So that's why he's heal blocked. Absolute insanity. I was taking this fight, and when this happened, I literally did the what out loud, like to myself in my office. I could not believe what just happened. I had to watch it back a few times to understand, but that's why. So it's a combination of the damnation turning into armor break debuffs, and then the sick and tired attack. So anyway, very, very cool. It's not even something really that I think that I could repeat. And in fact, I took this exact same fight in War 3. You guys will see that here in a couple days when I get that video posted. And that did not happen. So Not something that it was just an accident, basically. But something I will definitely take, and very cool interaction. All right, so Arcus here. So Arcus, there are a couple options for this fight. Obviously, I'm going to use CGR, and we do have a guidance on here to ensure that our parries will land guaranteed, because he is a rank 4, and his awakened ability, depending on the SIG, gives him a chance to shrug any debuffs. If he's SIG 200, then it's a 100% chance, which is actually a little bit easier to fight against because you know that it's going to happen and you can just double parry. But the other factor on this fight is this guy's a rank 4. He's going to inflict Cold Snap if we stand next to him for 1.5 seconds or something like that. And then once we have a debuff on us, he will get a massive, that Schadenfreude Fury. And then his Cold Snaps are going to start doing way more because they will be increased by that Fury. So what I want to do in this fight, you basically have two options. You can go the Void strat route, so PS1, and just get to your SP2 as fast as you possibly can, throw it, and then just let your Cosmic Boost get you up to another SP2 or an SP3 to end the fight early. I opted for this fight. I think it's slightly safer to just do a full Judgment Cycle so that you can Fate Seal him, so that he won't have those power gains. Because if you were to drop an input and get hit, or something happens, between the fight starting and you throwing that first SP2 with CGR, if you use the PS1, the quick rotation, then he could definitely get himself to an SP3, and with that Fury buff, his SP3 could kill you. So I think it's safer just to do an invulnerability boost here, or a combat regen boost, do your standard rotation so that you Fate Seal him so that he doesn't have any of those power gain buffs or anything like that, and you're just going to have to eat some damage. So that's what I opted for here. I also, I obviously took off a PS1 boost when I fought Nick Fury because of Indestructible 1. But so here you guys are going to see that I do get the Cold Snap on me, and he's chunking me off for 2,700 damage per tick. But that Fury that he gets is a buff, so we get rid of it with Damnation. And I mean, I couldn't even explain the fight quick enough. But yeah, I mean, pretty standard stuff. Okay, so this fight up here was originally assigned to a Guardian, a Max Sig Guardian. We like to use Guardian here. The best option is iDoom, but he is still, he's not a champ that a lot of people have still. So we do have a couple in the Alliance, but we have none in this battle group. But Guardian works really, really well here as well. Basically, with Guardian, you can completely ignore the hazard shift phases, because as long as Guardian is at Sig 200, his energy resist will allow him to heal off of those debuffs. With willpower, they are Incinerate and Shock. So, and then here, you just want to play it stun immune and basically just punch her. So when she throws a heavy, you counter, do a full combo, and you just repeat that process. For a rank 4 Guardian, even a rank 3 Guardian boosted, I think you can just do 1 SP1, which is going to give you 4 additional force field charges. And then, you can just go up to your SP2, and by that point, you'll have 5 force field charges, and that should kill her. She has a pretty small health pool. This is a rank 4, and the Guardian that we assigned is a rank 3. So my rank 4 Guardian is actually on defense for this season because of Conduit again. So anyway, the person taking this fight was kind of limited on time and was going to be unavailable for a couple hours if we didn't get this, if we didn't get this fight cleared for him to take this fight, then we would all be stuck behind him. And he had really the only safe counter that we had, assigned on our attack teams, and that was his Mr. Negative. So, so I've taken this fight before. I've taken Kitty many times with CGR. CGR is very strong for her. It's just not as easy as Guardian. But I was like, look, I'll just clear this fight because our other guy I don't think that was available right away. And I'll clear this fight so that our negative guy can take this maw, and then we'll have section 2 opened and he can kind of do his thing. So, all right, so that's what we're doing here. We're just going to top him off. Now this node does have aggression prowess, which does affect her phase. So even if you never touch her or never crit against her, if you just stand there and let her build up prowess, it will have the same effect as her native prowess. So we do have to be conscious of that. Now, here's one other thing. Sorry, I'm probably making this way longer than it needs to be, but all right, so for any fights where you want to play stun immune with Cosmic Ghost Rider, and obviously you don't want to, you can, but you don't want to parry Kitty Pryde, because if you parry her, you will give her a prowess just from that parry. If you parry her and it's a passive parry, like from guidance, then she'll get 2 prowess. So the idea with Cosmic Ghost Rider, just to avoid that, to not give her a jump start on her prowess, is to not parry her. And anytime I'm using Cosmic Ghost Rider, as you guys saw in my last war video, in any kind of stun immune format where I don't want to parry, and I know that I want to get off my heavy first, and also for Alliance War to get that massive precision boost from her SP2, we don't want to accidentally use the Dexterity Mastery. So if I'm playing stun immune against a defender, they throw a heavy attack, and if I'm slightly late to back up, then I might accidentally use the Dexterity Mastery on that attack instead of just outranging the attack and not using Dexterity. So I like to take Dex off with CGR, especially if it's a defender that is, you know, she's going to be dead before she would ever have the possibility of having an unblockable special attack. So anyway, so I take off Dexterity. That's what this little thing is up here. I take off Dexterity for CGR so that I can play stun immune at the start. When she throws her heavy, I'm going to counter with the heavy, play stun immune. I'm going to let her charge in, throw another heavy. I'll counter with the light ending combo. And we're just going to do that with all of our combos. And we're just doing the standard rotation here. Once we get to our SP2, you know, our last judgment before our SP2, our last combo before our SP2 is going to give us vigilance. At that fight, or at that point, the fight is completely done. There's nothing she can do. So anyway, we have Dex off, playing stun immune out of the gate. There we counter heavy, which is perfect. There she is building prowess, but it's totally fine. I'm going to do the light ender for the power gain, and we just got to be patient here. Not intercept, not just resist the instincts. So there she phases, not a big deal. She gives us our opening. We're going to do a medium into our SP2, and obviously you guys can see that I'm completely ignoring the hazard shift node here. I believe this node does have insult to injury, so you have to be careful, but since we're playing stun immune here, it doesn't matter anyway. And because we had vigilance, we could throw that even if she dashed in. So anyway, so that's it. Super, super easy. I do like Guardian there, and I like to like give people additional fights as well that I know are super easy, just to kind of get them more involved and stuff like that. That was just a circumstance where you know, it made no sense for us to delay our clear by 3 hours because our Guardian guy, you know, would not have been able to, you know, jump in game right away within the next couple minutes. So, all right. So you guys can see that we're not quite max boosted. I had some of those in overflow, and I was looking at my pass and was like, yeah, I mean, a bunch of CGRs. This is totally fine. I'm totally fine. All right. We do have the double edge mastery at 3 out of 3, and then we have like greater strength. I have 4 out of 4 energy resist, 4 out of 4 physical resist, basically for this fight, and I'm using my rank 4 thing. He is Sig 200. This is obviously a rank 4 Dr. Doom on Conflictor, Shock Bleed, and with guidance here, we can completely ignore all of the node elements. All we have to worry about is Conduit. So we get 1 knockdown if we want to use it. Or we can just recycle our SP3s and not, that won't trigger Conduit. And then just, Doom's native abilities. So, you guys are going to kind of see this fight. I did use a combat regen boost here too. It's probably, I don't think that it mattered, but I guess I could have used an Invuln. The thing is, man, I've been using Invuln so much at the start of this season. So you guys can see I do a full dex. But I got incinerated, so I was like, oh, okay, I must have mistimed that. There, I just totally botched the SP1 dex. And again, guys, I mean, I fight Dr. Doom all the time. All the time in all phases of content. I mean, I'm like 95% on his SP1. And I like to dex the first 2 hits of his SP2. And then I'll block the start of the 3rd beam. And then I'll dex out of it. But again, I got caught. So I'm like, all right. I think my timing is off, or like my phone maybe is like delayed. Like my inputs are all wacky. So I'm like, all right, I just need to focus. We're just going to do SP1s now because I keep screwing up the SP2. I mess up that SP1 dex. And I'm just like, damn, dude, what the hell is going on? So I'm like, all right, all I have to do is focus. I just got to be patient. And I just got to time the SP1 dexes better. But as long as I bait out his SP1, we're good. Now here's a problem. He won't throw his SP1. There we go. There, I missed another one, man. I missed another one. I'm just like, what is my problem? Why do I suck so bad? It's like, all right, I'm gonna end up losing this fight if I don't clean my shit up, So here's a problem, right? He's not throwing his special attack. I can't hit into his block because it'll push him over 2 bars of power. I could push him over 2 bars of power and just straight up block the entire thing. I'm pretty sure it would trigger protection, so that wouldn't be a bad move. And frankly, at this point, I haven't successfully dexed a single SP1. That's probably what I should have done. But I know that if I screw up on the SP2 again, then that incinerate damage is going to tick me down. And if I screw up on an SP1, honestly, it doesn't matter that much. It barely does any damage. But I'm getting cornered here, and I just really need him to throw his SP1. And he just won't throw his SP1. So there I'm doing like a backdraft, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm against the wall. I just need to handle this. I just need to do this like a man here. So there I do a little backdraft parry. Obviously, I don't want to push him to an SP3. And there, he gets me. I was a little bit early, and at this point, I literally said to myself, well, there it is. I mean, that's too many mistakes in this fight. So, yeah, I was like, all right, I'm going to die here. Obviously, Thing has protection, but I wasn't even thinking about that at this point. I was thinking about the fact that I'm going to be stunned passively coming out of this. So protection does save me. That only did 2% damage. Here I've got protection up, which is great. I'm taking no damage. I mean, he's insane. He's so good. And here I'm like, all right, just dex this shit. Nope. All right, I lose 5% on that. Right now he's got a Fury buff from his SP3. So that one hurt a little bit more. I'm down to 24%. I'm almost in assassin range, and I'm just like, all right. Just fucking focus, you idiot. Focus. Again have no space, so I have to do that. Now I'm like, no, I'm just going to block this shit. I'm just blocking it. All right, so I block it. With no Fury, it drops me down to 10%. So it takes off 10% of my health just blocking it. And I'm like, I'm almost there. I could probably throw my SP3, but it has to be the kill shot. Because if I throw it and he survives with 1%, I'm going to die. So I just need him to throw this SP1. I don't want to mess with his SP2 again. Because if I misdex it again, I'll obviously get incinerated. If I take it on the block, I'll lose 10% of my health. It has to be the SP1. So there I'm like, dex it. Drop down to 1%, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Throw the SP3, and all I can do here is just pray that it kills him. Because if it doesn't kill him, I'm not going to survive this fight. I would have to get off like a random intercept, and fortunately it kills him. So, I could not figure out why my fucking dex wasn't working or why I wasn't able to successfully dex a single special in that entire fight. I still had my fucking dexterity mastery off from the kitty fight. So there was a break, right, between this, this kitty fight I was not anticipating taking. So I took my fights in section 1, fairly early, got those cleared, and then I hopped on to clear this kind of, not in a rush, but I hopped on just kind of out of the blue to get this Ebony Maw that was up here cleared for one of our guys that had like 15 minutes before he was going to be offline for a few hours. And then at that point, I put the game away for a bit. So I just totally spaced this. I wasn't planning on taking this. I made kind of the decision right before I took the fight to take dex off, which definitely I didn't need to do, but it just completely eliminated any risk in that fight for me. And then, yeah, so taking Kitty was not in my assignments. Taking off dex for Kitty obviously was not in my assignments. And I don't know, I kind of have like a ritual that I go through. When I'm writing assignments for the entire battle group, I'll write like specific instructions, boost instructions, rotation instructions sometimes, depending on the matchups. I do that even for myself, even though I know that I'm going to be taking those fights and I'm going to be I already know what the instructions are going to be since I'm the one providing them, right? I still put them in the plans because that's just part of like my routine. And part of my routine is I go over my own assignments before I hop in to clear my fights. So I checked out my assignments for myself for these fights down here. And I didn't have any assignments for myself for this because I didn't assign that fight to myself. So anyway, creature of habit type of stuff, but, if this was somebody else, right, and they forgot to put Dexterity Mastery back on after they had taken it off for a fight and they died, I definitely would have been very upset about that, right? Like that's the type of unforced mental error that just elite alliances just can't be something that happens. And I know that mistakes happen, obviously, but it's just, we have to clear those completely out. They have to stop happening, right? Because the best alliances on the planet, they might make some of those, but they also never die, right? So if they're not dying, they can kind of afford one of those each war, but usually they just don't make mistakes like that. Everybody handles their business. So I was really, really pissed with myself about this. Nobody in the alliance other than Lizer knew about this. I'm sure that somebody may have noticed that I barely survived this fight, but I didn't, since I did survive it, I didn't post a video anywhere in our chats or anything like that. I was like really upset with myself. I was most upset with myself because I've made such a big deal about going through the prepping process before your fights. Like that's how we are going to succeed as an alliance, and everybody needs to do that because we can't afford unforced errors. And here I am, the guy who's telling everybody that stuff, and I make one that almost got me killed. And, for reference, I've taken this fight with Thing, and it's, you come out of that fight with 70% health. It's a very easy, straightforward fight. Carl in BG3 also took this same fight this war with his rank 4 Thing and smoked it. Like, it's an easy, super safe fight. And yeah, I was just really, really upset with myself. So anyway, that's the story of that fight. Let's move along here. Okay, so I did fortunately I did realize at this point. I was like, what is going on? Oh, my masteries. Whoops, what a jackass. So I threw that one back in. I'm gonna waste a bunch of items here, healing up Thing. I actually think I did this wrong too. So I'm using these big single champ potions. What I should have done was use a team one since I'm going to have to heal up CGR later anyway. So yeah, I did this wrong, but I wasn't really slowing down to think about all this stuff. I was just dismayed at my own stupidity, and but I was very prepared for this fight. I was like, okay, at least, like the silver lining is I was not missing dexes. I just didn't have my effing dexterity mastery. So anyway, this fight is a complete joke for thing. So I did hit him there on accident. It does have one eye open, just on instinct, but yeah, all you want to do here is just parry 3 times. There I missed a parry. So parry 3 times, get 15 plus rock stacks, and at this point you can just intercept like a madman. It doesn't matter, because if you miss an intercept, which I will do in this fight multiple times, then abilities will just give us an unstoppable buff as protection. So there's literally nothing that Magneto can do in this fight. The only way you could screw this up is by like taking SP2s, but even those, I think protection would save you. So I am going to be patient here still. I'm going to bait out his special ones, of course. So I'm not going to get like super, risky or anything like that. But yeah, I mean this is about as safe as it gets. I think I actually make this fight pretty. This fight's pretty bad too. But all right, so now we just got to intercept there. I did not land a clean intercept. You can tell because I triggered unstoppable. But as long as we stay above 15, at or above 15, we have that inner back pocket for the rest of the fight. So it's totally fine. Even with an SP1, even with a bar of power, we can do that. If he throws an SP1 in our face, we will still be unstoppable. So there's like basically nothing that he can do in this fight. And every time we get up to 20, the reason I'm parrying here, getting him up to 20, is because once these expire, he'll convert the additional rock stacks above 15 into passive furies. And these do cap at 60, I think. So, but it does help with things damage a little bit, because he does not have the best damage in the game for sure. There you guys can see I go for an intercept. He throws an SP1 in my face. Doesn't matter. So not like a clean fight with Thing, but honestly like a really enjoyable fight. Just hilarious. All right, so this Hulkling, I am not taking this Hulkling. Our Quake God took that for us. And I am going to be taking this Terrax here. Alright, so this Terrax fight is just about as straightforward as it gets for CGR. Again, kind of similar to the Arcus fight. We're going to take a little bit of damage in this fight from his energy field, but it just doesn't matter. So he is Conduit, but we are sick and tired, so we counter Conduit. And we're going to do the standard rotation here. This node has Aspect of Evolution, and every time he fills a bar of power, he's going to get a new separate buff. He obviously, as an Awakened Terrax, he's going to start with power that is like a passive power bar. I think this one was a low sig because he just started with like 1 bar, yeah. So, but because of that, he started with a Fury buff, and then you guys can see when I hit him, push him over a bar, he gets that extra buff. But at this point, fight's over. We're just going to do our rotation. He is passively heal blocked from Sick and Tired, and he survived. He just survived so that I could take that 5% recoil damage. But all is good. Very, very simple fight. And at this point, obviously I took a little break after my Thing fight since I was not taking Hulkling. And I was like, all right, cool. We're back at it. I'm good. We're good to go. Throughout the season, I've been really good. Like my fights have been, I felt fully in control. I haven't had a sloppy fight. Like even the Doom fight, had I had dexterity on, I would have been nailing those dexes. I would have nailed those first 2 SP2 dexes that I thought that I messed up and took some incinerate damage on. So I feel like to this point, I felt like I was totally in control. All right, so here's a mistake that I made, and I will go over this here in a sec. All right, so against this fight here, you do have to switch up, or you should switch up your rotation with Cosmic Ghost Rider. Now, the standard rotation, as you guys probably know, is medium, or I'm sorry, Jesus. It's heavy to get your aptitude, which is what this buff is. And then it is light ender to get your power gain buff, which is what this is. And then your third judgment is going to be the medium ending combo, which gives you vigilance. And then you just chain that medium ending combo into your SP2, boom, fight over. Now, because of this node here, which is, I can't remember what it's called, but it basically inflicts a falter on you. You guys can see, that's what this timer is. Wait, is that what that timer is? I think it is. So basically, anytime the attacker gains a buff, I think it's the attacker. Honestly, I can't remember. But anytime I think it's the attacker gains a buff, then there's a timer that starts, and when that timer expires, you get a falter debuff on you. And then obviously, like when when you're faltered, you miss. All right, so there's the falter debuff right here. I do still have vigilance active, but you guys can see that it's about to be over. So when I throw my SP2 here, all of these hits miss. All right, so let's watch that again without me screwing with things. So I go for medium first to get vigilance, and then heavy, and then my light ender. Here I'm going to block all this, of course, then my light ender, and then I have to get one more parry before my SP2 and I throw it. That's not the right way to do this fight with CGR. Now, I will let this fight play out in just a second. We can kind of analyze. But for anybody taking this fight with CGR that is looking at my videos for like, oh, this is how this guy takes this fight with CGR, I did this wrong. What you want to do is you want to start with a medium. God damn it! You want to start with a heavy attack to give you an aptitude. The next buff that you trigger on yourself is going to be elongated by virtue of it being a successive judgment, and it will also gain potency due to the vigilance buff. So what you want to do is heavy for vigilance, and then a medium ender or heavy for aptitude, and then a medium ender for vigilance, and then a light ender for your power gain, and then your SP2. If you do that, your vigilance will last long enough that your SP2 ends before vigilance expires, and at that point, it's the same story with CGR. Basically, you throw one SP2 with cosmic power boosts, you'll get yourself back up to an SP2 or an SP3, and you'll win the fight. Now here, you just have to ignore Hyperion's power here. Use an invulnerability boost. Let him go to an SP3 if you want. You just don't want to be spoiling your dexterity mastery. There, I spoiled my dexterity mastery like a total fucking idiot. And we push him to an SP3. So, ultimately, not a big deal. I have an invulnerability boost. This is going to use one of our hits. One of our 3 indestructible hits. And, yeah. I just totally screw it up. And now I have falter on me. I have to dex his heavy in the corner, which I cannot do. He's going to throw his SP3, or I throw my SP3. Just purely to reset my power, because I know that the way that I kill him in this fight is with my SP2. So if I'm at an SP3, I just need to clear my power out. He, of course, is going to throw his SP3, and he actually threw it fairly quickly after heavying me. Minus the time for the SP3 animation, so I still had my armor, so that actually helped me here. And at this point, I'm good. I just need to make sure that I am not spoiling my precision. I just want to get up to my SP2, that's it. So I'm only at 2 judgments here. We're going to do a full medium ender for vigilance, and now we just got to throw that SP2. Alright, we did one more judgment just to make sure that we inflicted damnation, and yeah, we're good. We're good now, but very sloppy fight. I think that was my sloppy. That was really my only sloppy fight of the season so far. The Doom fight was just stupidity. All right, and then we have one fight left this war, I believe, and that is a mcoc on node 54 that we're going to be taking with Scorpion. So our Scorpion is rank 4. He is Sig 1. I used a gem on him specifically so that he could block unblockable special attacks with the opponent taunted. So we're going to use an invulnerability boost here, and we are just going to recycle our SP1s to keep him taunted. Now, there is some power controlling or combo controlling that you want to do with mcoc. You really do not want him to throw an SP1 in this fight. You want him to throw an SP2. When he throws an SP1, he gives himself hatred, and if he gets to 10 hatred, then he gains buffs, and he becomes a lot more difficult. So we are just going to medium him until he gets close to a bar of power, and at this point, this is what I'm looking at in the game. I'm going to stop my combo short and make sure that he does not throw an SP1. And then we can just kind of, once he gets to 2 bars and stands up, we kind of just stand up and back up a little bit and keep ourselves open for just a split second, and that he'll usually just throw it right away. All right, and so every time we throw that SP1, we inflict him with a taunt debuff, and then we're just going to do that on repeat. All right, so that's the whole fight. All of the damage basically in this fight is going to be from his sting, power stings when he throws his special attack. I'm not worrying about heavying him in this fight. That just adds a slight layer of complexity and risk. Even though Torments, in this case, would elongate these debuffs so that if he's being stingy like he just was, he'll retain those debuffs for longer. But ultimately, it's fine. We're just going to get in our reparries, hold block, make sure that when he gets to 2 bars of power, he is taunted all the time. All right, that was an accidental parry, so I was like, whoops, all right. Back up, let him throw this, there we go. And I mean, we're definitely taking some damage here, but this is just very safe if you don't screw it up. Now, I have screwed up on this in this matchup before, and it was basically just for, being too late to get my block up when he throws an SP2, spoiling the indestructible boost and all that stuff. So now, this is a slightly risky spot here, right? But we do have our indestructible boost, so I'm fine pushing him to an SP3. He's going to go ahead and throw that SP3, which is fine. At this point, honestly, I think I would rather him throw his SP3 than his SP2 into my block again, just because he's crushing me through the block so much. But you guys can see that we still did the sting debuff, or sting damage, I mean. And at this point, I'm like, yeah, you can throw your SP1 if you want to, man, because you're going to die. So, not the fastest. I took a ton of damage, but a very safe fight. The War 3, I took the same fight. It went a lot smoother. I boosted differently, and my mastery setup was a little bit different. So anyway, that is it for the War, guys. Sorry for the super long War video. Leave a like and a comment. Let me know what you think. And, yeah, that's it. I'll see you in the next video.